Hello, you're welcome. This is the Marketplace. My name is John Kojo Amwako. On the program today, we're going to look at the market and how it's actually influencing your businesses here in Ghana. And among some of the stories we'll be looking at here, inflation continues to rise as the rate of month of May increases marginally to about 18.9%. We'll be looking at the implications on your business and in your pocket here on the Marketplace, and also other stories pending. You can actually send us your feedback and your contribution via, if you want to, tweet at us, it's simply Joy Business GH. And also, if you want to do some Facebooking with us, Joy Business. For more, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Once again, my name is John Kojo Amwako. Marketplace returns after the break. You're welcome back. And in our first story, the rate of increase in the price of goods and services continue to rise. Inflation for the month of May increased marginally by 0.2 percentage points as recorded at the rate of 18.9% in the month under review compared to 18.7% last month. This, according to the statistical services, attributable to the non-food inflation rate, which surged beyond the national average of 25%, with transportation and electricity recording the highest in almost 41 to 36% respectively. Government statistician Philomena Nyako explained further to Joy Business just a while ago.
0.9% compared with the 18.7% recorded in April 2016. And that's the annual change rate. Then for the monthly change rate, we had 1.1% for May 2016 compared to the 1.4% for April 2016. Then we also looked at the components of the inflation rate. We saw that the year-on-year non-food inflation rate for May 2016 was 25.0% compared with the 24.8% recorded in April 2016. And then also we saw that for the food inflation rate, we had 8.5% for May 2016 compared with the 8.4% recorded for April 2016. And then we also found out that the year-on-year non-food inflation rate was about three times that of the food inflation rate. And then we also discovered that for the locally produced items, the inflation rate was 19.0%. And this was 0.5 percentage points higher than the inflation rate for the imported item. That recorded an inflation rate of 18.5% for May 2016. Then we are saying that for the non-food group, the main price drivers were transport, which had an inflation rate of 40.9%, housing, water, electricity, gas, and other fuels, 35.7%, education 32.3%, and recreation and culture 27.9%. And for the food inflation rate, the price drivers were vegetables 11.6%, oils and fats 11.2%, fruits 10.3%, mineral water, soft drinks, fruits and vegetable juices 9.9%, coffee, tea, cocoa 8.9%, and meat products 8.8%. Then at the regional level, we saw that there were two main regions which recorded inflation rates of 22.6%, that's Greater Accra, and 20.8% for Ashanti region. And these had inflation rates higher than the national average of 18.9%. And the Upper East region recorded the lowest inflation rate of 15.0%. So these were the findings for May 20.
So that was Dr. Philomena Nyako, the government statistician, giving us exactly what it is that inflation looks like in the month of May. But to also give us further clarity and perspective in this same inflation issues is Professor Godfrey Bokwin from the University of Ghana Business School to also help us. Prof, you're welcome to the marketplace.
Yes, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Prof. Inflation inched up marginally to almost about 20 basis points up in the month of May. What does this mean to the average Ghanaian?
It means that our purchasing power, or the value that we get from spending money, has gone down a bit.
Okay. And generally, what are some of the implications and what is the Ghanaian expected to expect here in Ghana?
Yeah. We are eating less and less from spending the same amount because prices are going up. Yeah. In a certain manner. So we are unable to preserve our purchasing power.
Okay. So it means all things being equal, if nothing is done about salaries and sources of income, it also means that we must cut down on our expenditure to be able to live and live the way we want to.
Yeah, you know, inflation affects all of us. So if you don't do anything about your income in terms of if you had a chance or the opportunity to ask for more salary, then it means that with the same income, you are going to eat less. And usually those on fixed income, pensioners and the others, are affected the more because they don't have anything to do to adjust their income. And that is how sad it could get to. But I want to believe that I'm not too sure labor can ask for everything. Because don't forget that the employer, the economy in general, hasn't seen significant improvement, even in terms of cash flow generation for the private sector, that much. So I think that we all just have to be prepared to maybe go through this. It should not really start labor agitation because we want to be able to harmonize the labor front and ensure that there is peace, that we are able to go through these challenging times and put things right.
Okay, Prof. Let's look at it. Let's look at the distribution of it. Ashanti region for food inflation recorded the highest in the country, almost around 25%. I mean, over and above the national average. And Greater Accra also topped the non-food inflation category, almost about 45%. What does this mean proportionally? Going across, so when one is moving from Accra to Kumasi and moving from Kumasi to Accra, what adjustment should one make?
Yes, precisely. You know, inflation, what is given to us is the average, but there are regional dynamics, and that is exactly what you have referred to. Okay, so cost of living may be higher in one region compared to another. Okay, and it may be cheaper in another region, actually. So that is what we are seeing. You saw that. What is happening in Kumasi, all put together, tells you that cost of living is higher in Kumasi and Accra.
Insofar as food is concerned?
Yes, compared to other regions. Okay, but more so when you look at transportation, okay, and electricity, you see that if you record higher prices along those lines, because Ghanaians spend the bulk of their income along these lines also. So if you see an increment along those lines, that tells you how dwarf their purchasing power will be.
Okay.
You understand that? And you see, and the situation may be a bit worrying because oil marketing companies have signaled their intention to increase fuel prices, okay? And this will translate to transportation if we don't take and then as well as food inflation and then all of that. So it looks a bit dicey for us, but the rate of increase is not that much.
Yes,
okay?
Exactly.
Yeah,
almost about 20 basis points. But finally, maybe in about 20 seconds, they're saying, according to the report, imports cost actually reduced just because the city has been quite stable over the period, while as against the domestic price increase here in Ghana.
It will actually dislocate the local businesses.
Okay.
Because there will be a substitution effect. So people will switch to imported items compared to locally manufactured.
Okay, we thank you very much, Professor Godfrey Bokwin there from the University of Ghana, from gracing us with your perspective on what exactly it means when inflation actually increases here in Ghana, and what is between you and I, what we should do to make sure we still live life here. Moving on here on the marketplace, government has justified its decision to hand over management of the Shipyard and Dry Dock Company to the Ghana Port and Harbors Authority, GPHA. This follows opposition by a section of the workers who were pushing for consortium comprising SNIT, GPHA and GNPC to manage the facility instead of GPHA alone. But Transport Minister Fifi Kweti tells George Business the Port and Harbors Authority emerged tops in the evaluation process.
We want the presidency to set an independent inquiry or a committee to investigate and audit the
government over the years has made a lot of effort to bring it back. The most recent one was the whole effort to privatize the shipyard, and then that's when the Malaysians came on board. But unfortunately, after a number of years, it was obvious that somehow the Malaysians did not really have the kind of interest to take the shipyard where we thought it to be. So during the time of the former president, His Excellency John Evans Atta Mills, Ghana made an effort to literally buy back those shares, and so it became again a national facility. But the plan really was not just to remain at that. The plan was to get a transaction advisor and set in place a process by which we will know really the way forward. And the whole aim at all time has always been to see how we could position it to be able to draw technical expertise, management expertise in terms of so that the shipyard can go where it ought to go. Now, throughout this process, let's say that GPHA has always had a lot of interest in managing the facility. And GPHA was even very instrumental in even assisting the government throughout the whole buyback time. But we wanted to let the transaction advisory project go on in order to open it to a number of bidders and so on. And that's been the case. But throughout the process, after we evaluated all the bids, at the end of the day, we saw that none of those that really bid met the expectation of as far as what you call the key parameters were concerned. A number of proposals were submitted, which Cabinet took an extensive look at. But of all the options that we had available, the best option we thought was that GPHA should actually be handed over the shipyard. One, because we're looking at a shipyard and the activities on the Ghana Port and Harbour Authority, which you can understand almost like Siamese twins. One is into the whole port services and all that. The other is into repair and possibly eventually maybe construction of ship and so on. So there is a certain natural combination of the two. GPHA, through its own operations over the most recent years, has shown increasingly to be very viable, capable of leveraging finances, and also being able to draw the necessary technical partnership in order to make it.
Meanwhile, government is expecting Ghana Port and Harbors Authority to manage the facility while it works to bring on board a partner with technical expertise to support GPHA. And some workers are happy about government decision, but want an audit of the company's operations before the new owners take over.
To set an independent inquiry or a committee to investigate and audit the petitions. Secondly, the CEO himself and his managers. Because we are in the soup and we know what has gone on and what is going on. All we're pleading to the presidency that the audit is very important for us. We're happy to be under the management of GPHA. And one thing we knew about them is that they have the technical men, they have the capacity, they have the liquidity to revamp this company.
It's true that there were some allegations like that Chris Akume's report should be implemented. And since GPHA was mentioning the Chris Akume's report, we see it as the same thing that they are saying. GPHA has taken over. So it still remains like that. There was not like a consortium. We don't need any consortium. What we said is we want GPHA. And whatever they said, it was just, they were sharing their ideas. And the president has listened to both of us, and then he think the best option is to go for GPHA. So we don't need any consortium.
The Minerals Commission is stepping up efforts aimed at regularizing activities of illegal miners across the country. This forms part of measures to address the illegal mining menace, popularly called galamsey, in the sector. The phenomenon has posed a major threat to not only illegally registered mining companies, but the growth of the sector and the economy at large. The chief executive of the commission, Dr. Tony Obin, explained to Joy Business, roping in galamsey operators in the mainstreaming mining has been identified as a more sustainable way of addressing the issue.
As a country, we're facing a major challenge of informal mining, the method being used, and even the process. And then there's also somehow the lack of understanding of who does what. You see a lot of illegal mining going on. You see it impact directly on us, and it's very worrying. And as a country, we sometimes seem to want to say someone has to do it. Another one says the other one has to do it, which is a problem because as a country, we must collectively decide that what is wrong is wrong. If illegal mining is wrong, it is wrong. What the Commission is doing with the support of government is to ensure that for those who are law-abiding, but probably lack of knowledge, they are doing illegal things, we're making things easier for them to register, to work peacefully and all that. But there are those who are still recalcitrant, that they don't want to spend 1 week looking for papers. They would rather go straight and dig and destroy people's farm and destroy our waters. They are the people that collectively we must stop.
Exactly.
Because if you go to, if someone came to your farm digging for gold or for any mineral, you haven't given him the permission, or he doesn't have the permission from government because you don't have the right to give a permission for anyone to mine. Who do you go to?
And sometimes it gets violent and all that. But are we close to dealing with it? What has made it so difficult? Are we losing the fight?
Yeah, we are not losing the fight. I think we have a focus on resolving that. The Commission has proposed some things that we believe, when applied, would really help.
Such as what?
Recently, we've said we'll take the bull by the horn by registering illegal miners. They are not to be, in a way, if you're not careful, you say, these are illegal miners, you need to have the police to bulldoze them off and all that. But we've done that many times, the problem persists. So we need to sit with them, just register them, get where they are. And then once we know where they are, support them directly, either move them from where they are because we know where they are, or support them to regularize themselves.
Meanwhile, the Wasa Association of Communities Affected by Mining in Wakam is unhappy about what it describes as the low level of involvement of mining communities in the management of mineral revenues. According to the association, revenues generated from mining have over the years not been utilized for the benefit of such communities. It is worried the phenomenon, if not addressed, could see the indigents violently prevent mining activities in their communities. The executive director, Hannah Osu Cranton, told Joy Business, it is in the country's interest for inhabitants of mining communities to be engaged.
If you talk about governance, it has everything to do with participation of the citizenry. And participation based on information. And so if you look at the extractive sector and participation, you realize that decisions are always taken at the top of society and then push down the truth of communities. So you go to many communities and they are not even aware of which companies are supposed to be operating in their community. And that has presented a challenge to communities. What has been in the pipeline, which government has rectified, is that in recognizing those, they have passed many conventions and protocols that enjoins government to internalize the free, prior and informed consent, which will give the communities the power to take decisions. It's going to provide them with information, and then based on the information, they can decide which economic activity would be more profitable to them. That's one aspect of it. Apart from that, we are supposed to be in an era of transparency. And if you talk about initiative, it's not just a one-off thing. It begins from somewhere and then ends at somewhere. So at every stage of the mining exploitation, from the the decision to mine or not to mine closure and decommissioning. There's the need to involve citizens in the processes. After all, the natural resource is for all of us per law. And so if I talk about governance, I'm not just limiting that to policymakers and then people in politics taking the decisions on behalf of people, but then demanding accountability from these stewards that we have commissioned to take our interests into account, to be more open with us and then discuss the issues dispassionately for us to understand what really they want to do with natural resources.
Now, from mining, let's look at some social entrepreneurship issues. And Joy Business Van puts spotlight on entrepreneurs for children. We tell you what to expect in today's edition. There is quite a number of social entrepreneurs out there doing amazing things to improve the lives of children. There will be the spotlight on today's edition of the Joy Business Fund. It's a special edition ahead of the AU Day of the African Child, which falls tomorrow. Here's an excerpt of what is coming later today.
Clap for yourself.
Taking school children through anti-drowning lessons, caring for children with autism. Felix Uzo and Sawa Kweno are two of very few entrepreneurs for children in the country. These entrepreneurs for children are also categorized as social entrepreneurs, meaning they are in business not just for the money, but to make social impact. Funding their enterprises is, however, a challenge.
In the beginning, from the very word we said go, although we set up as an NGO, we had to start charging money. Because how are we going to sustain ourselves if we didn't charge money?
There will always be a need, and making money is another thing. You just want to keep your thing surviving. Yes, you can't completely say, you can't say never. Okay, if you say never, you will not be 100% right.
So you should be expecting this thing on Business Van right there on Business Live between 5:30 on your Joy News channel. Now here, time to do some market and look at how the commodities, the currencies, and also the Ghanaian market insofar as the equity market is concerned is there. So let's look at that. We're starting from Johannesburg in South Africa, where the FTSE All-Share Index still maintaining that decline of 250.15 points as the year-on-year still remains 1.46 per annum. And in Nigeria, the Nigerian All-Share Index also recorded an appreciation of 186.96 points as the year-on-year still remains 4.74%. Exactly. And in Egypt, the EGX30 index also declined marginally by 24.12 points as the year-on-year still remains 10.71 in the positive region. Now let's look at the Moroccan All-Share Index, which recorded a downside of 11.71 points as the year-on-year stands at 9.81% per annum. Now finally, Kenya's on the Nairobi All-Share Index also recorded an appreciation of 0.96 points as the year-on-year still remains the bottom of 0.47%. Now, moving on here on the marketplace, insofar as the indices of the African continent market is concerned, looking at Tunisia, Tunisia recorded a downside of 4.39 as the year-on-year stands 8.67 in the positive region, whilst the Ghana's composite index recorded a depreciation of 0.62 to be recording an average year-on-year of 11.82% per annum. Now, the Bourse Regional de Valeur Mobilier, that's the BRVM, the composite index, which records the Francophone countries combined, recorded an upside of 2.89 as the year-on-year still stands 1.01% in the positive. Now, finally, the Mauritian Semidex recorded a depreciation of 4.39 points as the year-on-year remains 3.23%. Now let's look at Ghana and how it did affect the volumes on the market here across the continent. Ghana saw a total volume of 1,321,060 in terms of far as volume traded is concerned, at a total value of 2,257,220,000. That brought market capitalization to 54,229.61. Some marginal decline there as against 54,261.10 million, and that is it. That brought the composite index of the Ghanaian Bourse to almost about 11.82%, whilst the financial index still remained 14.24 in the negative region. So the recovery rate of the Ghana Bourse is also in question. They're struggling to get things done and then make money for their investor. Now let's look at the top 4 major movers on the Ghana stock, where EGL topped the boss after it returned 2 pesos to close around 2 Ghana cedis, 45 pesos per share. And then EcoBank Ghana also recorded an appreciation of 1 peso to be trading currently at 6 Ghana cedis, 34 per share. And then Guinness Ghana Breweries Limited, after losing 5 pesos per share, is currently trading at 1 Ghana cedis, 85 pesos per share. And finally, Benso Oil Palm Plantation lost 8 pesos to be trading around 2 Ghana cedis, 90 pesos. Now in Nigeria, we had Total, Guinness, Wando, Diamond Bank, and Unity Bank recording 2 naira 82 kobos, and then 95 kobos, 62 kobos, 6 kobos, and 4 kobos respectively to make the top 5 position of the Nigerian board. Now, the top 5 of the losers on the Nigerian boards include Livestock, AfriPrudential, Transcorp, Tiger Brand, Skybank, all losing 1 kobo, 1 kobo, 2 kobo, 3 kobos, and 4 kobos, respectively, on the Nigerian market. So these were the top losers, the top 5 losers of the Nigerian board. Now, moving on to the commodities and how the commodity market is actually faring. Crude oil currently averaging around $50.05 per barrel after losing 54 cents, and also gold trading around $1,284.14 cents per ounce after gaining $10.63 per ounce. And finally, cocoa also declined by $9 to be trading at $3,090 per ton there. And finally, looking at how the Ghana cedi fared against the major trading currencies here in Ghana. The cedi appreciated against the United States dollar, the British pound, the euro, the Chinese yuan, but unfortunately lost to the CFA franc. So for tomorrow, you need just 3 Ghana cedi, 87 pesos to get yourself $1 for 1 British pound, 5 Ghana cedi 55, and for 1 euro, 4 Ghana cedi 36, and the Chinese yuan will cost you 59 pesos for 1 Chinese yuan. But 150 CFA franc will get you 1 Ghana cedi. That's exactly how the markets are looking like, the currency, the commodity, and the equities market. So that'll be it here in Ghana and across the continent, how the market looked like. My name is John Kojo Amwaku. You can stay interactive if you want to tweet. Our handle is Joy Business GH, and on Facebook, Joy Business. For more, you can log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Have a very wonderful afternoon.